All right, welcome back to the parking lot preview for the final regular season home game here at McKeon Park. It's a big one. The Harbor Hawks are taking on the Wareham Gatemen in a matchup that could have some seeding implications. We'll get into those in a second, but let's flash back to last night real quick, Ben. And another disappointing loss for the Harbor Hawks, this time in Falmouth. 3-game losing streak right on the brink of the playoffs. What did you see last night?
Yeah, 6-5 loss in extra innings for Hyannis. It was a game where you needed the bullpen to give you some length. Manager Eric Beatty said before the game that Hayden Frank would only be going 3 or 4 innings just so he's getting ready for his potential playoff start on Saturday. And the bullpen looked really good early on, but unfortunately in the 9th and then in the 10th innings, the bullpen really struggled throwing strikes. Got down to the final strike, but weren't able to kind of capitalize. And Jason, we've kind of seen the offense fall a little silent as well. They were able to put up 5 runs last night, but really taking advantage of errors from the other side.
Yeah, it's almost embarrassing though, not win a game where the other team commits 5 errors. I think one might have got an overturn, but still 4 errors and you can't win that game. It's not something you want to see right before the playoffs start. So hopefully tonight the Hyannis offense can really get it going again and get ready into gear before the playoffs start on Friday. Speaking of playoffs, we have some playoff scenarios here to see where Hyannis will end up in the standings. Katuitt's already locked up the 1 seed after Saturday. It seemed like that was kind of a no-brainer.
For sure.
But Hyannis, now their fate's in their own hands. All they have to do is not lose out, and they're guaranteed the 2 seed. Home field advantage in the first round. So tonight we have Wareham, tomorrow Bourne, so 2 division rivals here. And, Hyannis really needs to shape up. You can't go into the playoffs on a losing streak like they have right now, so hopefully they'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah, 2 of the lower seeds in the division, very winnable matchups here tonight. We'll get into the pitching matchup just here in a little bit, but Hyannis has really owned their number this year, really successful against Wareham this year. So, like you said, they're in control of their own destiny. They need to kind of reconfigure whatever's been going on the last 3 days, kind of get back to their winning ways. We've seen so much success over the month of July. It would be really tough to start out the month of August kind of the way that we ended the month.
Yeah, I agree. You mentioned we have pitching matchups for tonight for the game between the Harbor Hawks and the Wareham Gatemen. Who we got on the mound for the Hawks?
Yeah, it'll be Mason Nichols taking the bump here tonight, coming off of a really successful start against YD. That might be an understatement his last time out. 5 2/3 hitless innings. He picked up the win in an 8-0 victory for Hyannis. He was absolutely dominant. It lowered his season ERA just around 4, so he looks to be getting the ball in the playoffs as well. So you wonder how much he'll go into this game, but hopefully he's able to give you just enough to kind of secure a lead early with the offense. And then for Wareham tonight, excuse me, we've got Chase Chatham. I was trying to pull it up here. He is 0-0 with a 6 ERA in 4 previous appearances, so not looking too great here for Chase Chatham, but hopefully that gives the opportunity for the offense to take the lead early. You know that Eric Beatty loves to get the early runs going here, and obviously we like that too. It leads more to Hyannis victory, so hopefully we're able to see that here tonight.
Yeah, Mason Nichols, like you said, great start last time out. And today, with the playoffs starting on Friday, he wouldn't be slated to start until a possible if game on Sunday.
Yeah.
So we might be able to see a little more length out of Nichols today, especially if he can keep up the stuff that he had down in Hartford last week. So we'll be looking forward to see what the Harbor Hawks are going to do tonight. But before we get to our player of the game previews, I have a little bit of a fun fact I dug up. So earlier today at work, I was a little bored, and I wanted to see, with tonight being the last home game, how the Harbor Hawks have been at home this season. And they've been pretty solid at home. 14-6-1 at home compared to 10-10-1 away. So a better record. They've actually scored less runs at home. 120 runs at home and 124 on the road. So maybe a big showing tonight could get them back into that home category, being the higher one. But even though the record's better, the Harbor Hawks have only been shut out twice this season. Both times were at home. So a little bit of an interesting tidbits there about how the Harbor Hawks have been at home. But I just thought it was interesting.
Yep.
And I was bored.
Very interesting. It kind of shows that the pitching is maybe a little bit more comfortable in front of the home crowd, and that the offense can be real road warriors, and especially with kind of the way that things have been going for Hyannis over these last few weeks, and the pitching has been really unbelievable. And the offense is eventually going to come around. It's going to be really important to pick up a win over these next 2 days, so the pitching staff is able to, at least for the first series, have that home field advantage and pitch 2 games in front of the home crowd.
Yeah, so that does it for that little fun fact. Let's get into our predictions. Last night it was Brody Donay. He had a 2-run home run in the first inning, sent it straight away centers. Quite a shot, one-handed even. Just shows off his power. But who you got tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to go with someone that maybe has been struggling a little bit over the past week and a half, but he's really due to break out, and that's Zach York. Zach York's won this award multiple times, and he's honestly been probably the catalyst of just how well the offense was in July, maybe alongside who you might pick later, but
no spoilers.
But Zach York has been struggling kind of over the last 2 weeks, just barely hitting over 200, but has a couple bombs in that stretch as well. So hopefully we see kind of the York that we saw earlier on in the season, which was really good bat to ball skills, able to put the ball in play, not necessarily always for extra base hit power, but he's able to get on base and really create an offensive approach in that middle of the lineup, get people on base and provide run scoring opportunities, which for Hyannis, that'll be really important here tonight.
Yeah, I like that pick. It's kind of surprising for someone with his profile. He's a big, tall guy, but he really doesn't hit for power that much. It's there. He can do it if he wants to, but he's so good at hitting for average. And Coach Beatty's given him nothing but praise on his approach. Says he's one of the most professional hitters on this team. So I think if the Harbor Hawks offense is going to make up for some struggles over the past few days, that he's going to be the guy to start it. So I like that pick. I'm going to go with another guy who's won this award a lot, who really gets it going for this offense. I'm going with Zach Earhart. Last night he reached base 4 times. Actually, 3 of them were hits because one was corrected from an error. And now his season average is over 300. And it's crazy to think, and it might sound like a broken record here, but he started the season 0 for 25, and now at the end of the season he's batting 304 going into the final 2 games. Super impressive stuff from Earhart. He's been so dynamic for the Harbor Hawks on the base paths, steals. He's always looking for a chance to get on base, to snag an extra bag, and then he does it all in the outfield too. He can play all 3 outfield positions. So I think tonight, especially if he's batting leadoff like he has been the past couple days, I think he can be a real big player for the Harbor Hawks tonight.
Yeah, Zach provides so much for the team. First of all, we talk about this a decent amount, but he might be the best bunter in the entire Cape Cod Baseball League. It's been unbelievable how many times I've seen Cape players come up and just not been able to do it. Zach's perfected it at least 5-6 times this entire season. He's done it a ton in the last few weeks, getting base knocks that way, but he's been playing all over the field. He's been super dynamic, not only in the outfield, but on the base pass as well. And you mentioned how hot he's been at the plate. He's probably hitting close to 500 in the month of July, which is completely unheard of. He's right up there with John Gazdar over the last few weeks with the number of multi-hit games that he's been in. He's even him and Nick Mitchell at the top of the lineup. They've been just so good together, kind of swapping back and forth between who's in the 1 and who's in the 2. But those 2 guys have done a really good job at just setting the table for the rest of the lineup, and honestly been probably, along with Zach York and Cam Smith, kind of the big run producers of the lineup, but they've been just as important to this offense.
Yeah, and actually some of the baseball ops guys were talking last night again about that 0 for 25 start. If he didn't have that, if he had got it going right away, he could be in league MVP conversations with how well he's been playing for the Harbor Hawks. There might be another candidate in Cam Smith. We'll have to see what happens. There's some great players across the league, but it's really been great to see him turn his season around, and I think he'll continue to do that into the playoffs for the Harbor Hawks. Yeah, but that does it for us here in the Parking Lot Preview for the last time at home in the regular season.
Until the playoffs.
But it's still cool. I'm Jason Boué, Ben Pope. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.